Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansu, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to hit all notifications on this channel to be notified the second we drop our content. Be sure to do that. Let me get into this topic here. This is a show that actually came out of the blue. We had finished producing content the day before, and while we're kind of going through the process of preparing it for you guys, I came across this clip, and this clip featured a segment from Jason Whitlock's show where he was talking to Steve Kim, and they were talking about this back and forth that is taking place between Michael Jordan fans and LeBron James fans, and they were reacting to some comments that Gilbert Arenas made. We produced the show on the Gilbert Arenas comments. So as I was watching the full show, it was about a 17-minute clip or maybe 15-minute clip. It came apart where they were reacting to this, reacting to the coverage of LeBron James in the media. And essentially what Jason Whitlock was saying was two things. The first thing he said was, listen, back when MJ played, you were able to criticize Michael Jordan. You were able to have an opinion on him. And secondly, he said that in this current day and age that we are, you can't criticize LeBron, especially on national TV. It seldom happens. And as he was going on, he says something that a lot of us have speculated about, which would actually give some credence to some of the things that we think about some of the stuff that these people out here are saying on television, which is the following. He said that what LeBron does is, given the fact that he has a media company, what he does is he pays people in media to basically argue on his behalf. So for those of you who didn't hear what Jason Whitlock had to say, what we want to do is want to play this particular part for you because it's very, very serious. So I want you guys to listen to it in its entirety, all of it. And then we're going to come back and really get into the show. Take a listen to what Jason Whitlock had to say here.
During Jordan's era, you could publicly criticize Michael Jordan.
Yes.
I did it. I did it. I was a prominent national sports columnist in Kansas City, on ESPN, on Fox Sports, and I would criticize Jordan publicly. And and part of it was a bias. I had an extreme bias because I was a Pacer fan, just growing up as a kid. And so, we were competing against him with Reggie Miller and all of that. And so I would call him hot air. I mean, consistently in columns, I called him hot air. And the other thing, again, by late in his career, I was sympathetic, not late, but early in his championship runs, I was sympathetic to Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. And we were allowed, the Pistons were allowed to beat him up, and people in the media were allowed to beat up Jordan. And it wasn't until Michael Jordan retired that I was like, okay, I'm over it. He's better than Magic. I want to give it up to him. And then I started celebrating Jordan once he retired. But as long as he was playing, the Pacer homer in me and I wanted him to earn it. But now there's this groupie mentality in the media where anybody that's pretty elite or at the top, it's like you can't criticize them. There's all this social media blowback. And also, because of the amount of money that LeBron James has been able to acquire, thanks to the work of Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, LeBron is a media mogul who pays surrogates to argue for him. Michael Jordan, maybe Michael Wilbon and a couple other people had access to Jordan or whatever, but it wasn't this payroll thing. It wasn't all these extracurricular benefits that you got from being a Michael Jordan worshiper. And the critics were allowed to live and breathe and do their thing in the media. I want to play you this clip of Shannon Sharpe and Kendrick Perkins basically having an on-air fight and maybe you saw this, they're having an on-air fight about who's been a groupie longer and better for LeBron James. This is unprecedented. Play the clip.
You want that with the Clippers? Stay with that. Time out. You just hopped on this LeBron train. I've been on this train since 2001. You forgot. Now, let me go take you in history. Me and LeBron played together. Me and LeBron was in the Mickey D's class. So when it comes to being an advocate for LeBron James, you just joined the family reunion. You just got you a side of the
I can't tell.
Well,
guess what?
Well, guess what, Perk? Nothing about advocating for LeBron.
I can't. I've never understood it with Shannon Sharpe because he's such an elite, accomplished athlete, 3-time Super Bowl winner, Hall of Fame tight end, was a serious athlete in the NFL, unquestioned accomplishments. I've never understood why he became a groupie for LeBron James other than it worked as a television stick opposite Skip Bayless. But it just never struck me as like, I've never seen an athlete do this to himself. Kendrick Perkins, marginal or journeyman NBA player, played on the same McDonald's All-American team with LeBron James. I understand it a bit more. Kendrick Perkins, neither one of these guys have the best verbal presentation, but I just can't believe accomplished, masculine athletes are debating, who has served LeBron better and longer on national TV. It blows my mind.
So you heard what he had to say. Why is this important? Some people may be asking, why even produce this show? This is drama. This is this is in Kumbaya, talking about the X's and O's. First of all, who is the person right now in sports media that's excelling anywhere that's just talking about the X and O's? Who here talking about sports right now that's actually having some traction? It's not being talked about because of their viewpoints and the strong positions that they take. Almost everyone that's significant and relevant, we know them for their position on certain things, their strong opinions, or maybe in some cases, some of the crazy stuff that they say. That's what it's about right now. And the ones that are doing it at the highest level are the ones that are excelling. If you want to watch a strictly basketball video, go watch B-Ball Breakdown. He makes excellent content. But the fact of the matter is people are tuning into sports media to hear what people think about things and issues and situations and players. That's the name of the game, folks. Now, if you can show me an example of maybe 2 or 3 channels that are just doing this X and O's basketball that are excelling, I'll hand them to you. Or better yet, if you feel like, hey, this is what's missing in the space, you go do it. It's very simple. So let me get back to what he said. What Jason Whitlock just said is something that a lot of us have speculated on. As a matter of fact, we actually produced a show last year that was focused on the comments that Doug Gottlieb, who works for FS1, who basically said that Nick Wright is actually represented by Clutch Sports. Now, why is that important? If we found out that Nick Wright is being represented by Clutch Sports, one can then basically come to the conclusion that these guys are saying these things because they're pushing a particular narrative and they're not really saying what they think. And it makes perfect sense because when you realize that's the truth, then it makes perfect sense to why these guys go out there and say half of the crazy stuff that they say. If you listen to Nick Wright try to make a LeBron argument, it's one of the most incoherent pieces of conversation that one could listen to. But then once you realize that, oh, these guys are being, coaxed into going out there and having these views and possibly getting their pockets lined with money, then it makes perfect sense. It makes sense why a lot of these guys go out there and say say these things. Now, some people say, well, why you believe in what Jason Whitlock had to say? I mean, he's just going up there, he's just saying what he thinks. For all you know, he could be lying. Let me tell you why I believe what Jason Whitlock is saying is true. Number one, Jason Whitlock worked on television. He worked with big media. So he would know, the same way Doug Gottlieb would know, all of the people that are out there being influenced to say a particular thing. That's number one. Number two, I don't see what he gains by saying something like that if it's not true. What does he gain? What does he gain by going out there and say, these guys are LeBron is paying guys in the media to go out there and say, what is he gaining? What's the agenda there? So to me, I do believe what he has to say when it comes to that. I remember the show that's been taken off the internet when Steven Jackson, Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor were on Undisputed. And Joy Taylor said, I know the reason why all of a sudden you are promoting LeBron James. And then Steven Jackson said, I know too. And Shannon Sharp was acting like he didn't know what was going on. He's like, word is they've gotten to Shannon Sharp. And Steven Jackson said, I heard the same thing too. And Skip Bayless, who was unaware of it, was like, wait, what? Really? Essentially coming to the realization like, wait a minute, this guy that I'm sitting across the table arguing with is being influenced to go out there and support LeBron. Now, the question is, why would LeBron do this? I think the answer is quite simple. LeBron knows he can't win the GOAT argument. He knows he can't win it on the basketball level. So what he needs is these zealots to run around on television and different sports outlets to go out there and basically be capping it up. And if he's able to do that with various personalities, how do we know he's not able to influence certain publications that always have him ranked right next to Michael Jordan? How is this possible? Number 3, why is it whenever we produce these type of shows, I've noticed in the comments that sometimes we get these bots that go around posting, The Athletic said this, the Bleacher Report said this, these top 10. I've seen it on numerous, and I know it's not human beings that are doing it. So who's doing all of this? Who's the one that's going out there doing this? So to me, listen, I think it's a well thought out strategy that these guys are trying to deploy to influence people into believing that LeBron is the second greatest player of all time. Unfortunately for them, it's not working. It is just not working. No one is, you see, because you can go out there and say certain things, but after a while, when people listen to it, they're like, yeah, but this is not true. But this doesn't make any sense. People saw Jordan play. People saw Kobe play. And they're like, nah, I'm not going for it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going for it. And the clearest, the simplest way to understand whether or not these guys are being influenced is to listen to their arguments. If their arguments make no sense, you know that they're trying to push a particular agenda because they're being paid to do so. We all knew this, but to hear Jason Whitlock say it is just further proof to what we all already knew. It's a damn shame, but it is what it is. Jordan Brand don't be sending me no money. The Kobe Bryant Foundation, whatever, don't be sending me no money. When I come up here and tell you what I think, I actually truly believe it. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Catch you on the next show. Peace.